Good morning. This is Morning Coffee, and first of all, I want to say good morning to everyone. I had a really good time last night with some very close personal friends of mine, and after we played the game of categories, which is always fun, exuberant and exciting, we had a conversation which got us all into sharing our values, our opinions, our morals, our judgments, and things that we believe in. And we talked about two things that we generally don't talk about around the dinner table with our family, even with our friends. We talked about financial planning. I took a risk and shared with them that I'm not living to my true financial potential, and a lot of that has to do with not budgeting, not learning how to budget. And here I am, 44 years old, but just spending. And one of my friends said, I'm so busy keeping up with the Joneses that I end up behind the Joneses. And I thought, wow, that was powerful, but needed. Which is, I want to talk about having people in your life that won't co-sign your bull, your nonsense. They won't co-sign your BS, your belief system. Especially people who have paved the way and have done the work. And a lot of times we don't want to do the work. And because we don't want to do the work, we find ourselves entangled in webs of deceit, of manipulation, of I need more. And we fall behind the 8 ball so many times that we lose sight of who we are, or who we are not, or who we think we are. Trying to keep up an image without doing the work. So I've started to do the work financially, and so we talked about it. And one of my friends mentioned to me to get a book called by Susie Ramon, and really fundamentally talked about how, us as black folk tend to still blame the system, because there was someone else in the room that talked about how systematically, generation after generation, parents, especially single mothers, were brought up to try and feed the mouths of all their children, so they really weren't thinking about teaching them budgeting skills, and some of them weren't working, they were on welfare. And the other friend argued that, yeah, this might be true, but I'm sick of the systematic approach. We have really gone beyond the mentality that we are still slaves. I mean, once we have been given the power to read books and learn knowledge, then it is our responsibility. So both of them had some really good, tight arguments. But what I walked away from with the conversation is I walked away believing that there was hope, and that regardless of whatever my amount of debt is, I have to be willing to do the work. So that means that I may not be able to make those trips that I want to make. That means that those pair of shoes that I really like, I may not be able to have them. That means that suit or something like that I really want, I may just need to wait. Am I willing to do that? I've reached a stage to now I'm willing to do it. And I know I've talked about this before, but repetition is the mother of skill. And then the other thing that we talked about relationships. Whew, that got pretty deep. And one of my friends talked about holding a mirror up to yourself after you have been involved in a relationship and the relationship has ended. To not hold the mirror up at the other person, but to really hold it up and look at yourself and look at the demands that you place. And instead of placing demands on the individual in the relationship, look at the fact that those demands that you place could have actually, contributed to the cause of the breakup. And I kind of thought about that, and I'm still thinking about it, actually marinating in it. I myself know for a fact now that I still have reservations about the relationship that I came out of. And for a minute, I would still blame the other individual. Because whenever I'm in their presence, I'm still, this is what let me know about the reservation, I still have that hope. I still can see us together. And then I get very upset that I'm the one that has these feelings, and I get angry. And that's where I go wrong. It's okay to feel, think, and hope that. I I need to understand that boundaries that I establish, like on my job, I establish boundaries with people. I need to practice those same boundaries, when I'm in the other individual's presence. Because clearly they're really trying to be my friend. Clearly. And clearly there is a connection there. It just didn't work out, in the relationship that I want with the person so bad, which goes even deeper as to make me think, well, why do I want it so bad? Do I want it so that I can be the one to end it because I wasn't the one? Do I want it so that I could secretly plot, my revenge? And when I hold the mirror up, I have to ask myself these questions because that's what comes to my mind. And the reality is, I've got reservations and they need to be canceled so that I don't let my perception, because that's what I'm working with, so I don't let my perceptions, ruin what could be a great friendship. I'm getting older, and I pray for wisdom to know the difference so that I'm not stepping back into old, mindsets. And then the other thing that we talked about youth. Because some of us get involved with people that are way younger than us so that we could keep our youth alive. That hasn't been my struggle. I do not see someone that is younger than me, is potentially really younger than me, being able to bring anything to the table at this point because of their age and their inexperience. They're still on milk as far as I'm concerned. And, to a person that's 65 and I'm 44, they could be thinking the same thing about me. I'm still on milk, and I will be able to admit that. And then one other thing that we talked about, a friend of mine told me that I was very judgmental, very self-righteous, and I really thought about that, and I can be those things. However, I think that people tend to label you as judgmental or righteousness when you speak your voice so that you can hold them accountable and hold them responsible to the behaviors that they are exhibiting in a relationship with you, that you have set up a boundary that you won't accept. That's not being judgmental or self-righteous. That's pointing out your flaws, boo. And that's just sort of like letting you know that, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not just going to sit by and watch you do what you can do, to me. And then also, I'm not, like one of my friends told me, you had to put me in my place. So I go back to the beginning of what I said. I don't want people in my life that's going to co-sign my stuff. I don't want it. They serve no purpose for me. They really, really don't. Except for keeping me, keeping me in position to continue to miss the mark. Remember, miss the mark, sin. That's what really sin is, missing the mark. Thanks, sponsor. But anyway, this is morning coffee. I'm getting ready to take my butt to church and enjoy, the moments in my day. And I pray that you do the same.